Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite, and we're back with another video, guys. So this is going to be a lot different than the average video we do around this channel, because we're doing today is Gimp tutorials and how to make good thumbnails for YouTube for anyone who's out there wanting to make a YouTube channel who wants to move forward. I'm also going to be making a video about like the steps that you need to take to make a successful gaming channel, and that's going to be in the upcoming week or so. But I wanted to make this one first because a few people have asked me about how to make thumbnails, and I've never paid for Photoshop. I have very little experience with Photoshop. I've only really taken one class that ever had to do with it, so I haven't used it much, but I learned how to make thumbnails through Gimp, and I just wanted to make a tutorial on how I make my thumbnails, and hopefully it'll help you guys. So I want to make this as simple and as straightforward for any of you who haven't used Gimp before, because it can be a little bit confusing. But basically there's a few easy steps, a few things that you need to know, the basics, before you get into it. And again, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to actually make a good thumbnail, and I know what I used to do when I first started. You can go look at my old thumbnails, they were horrible, but like I just watched some really basic tutorials and I just followed those steps every single time. I kept pulling up that video every time I made a video to make a good thumbnail, what I thought was a good thumbnail. So I just kept doing the same steps over and over and over until I finally learned how to do it myself. So the first thumbnail we're gonna make is really a text-based thumbnail, and then we're gonna throw in a nice picture to kind of give you an idea of how you can use images and people in your thumbnails to make it better. So to start off, all you need to do is click File, New, and you want it to be 1280 by 720. That's the size of thumbnails on YouTube. So now you can look over on the right side. This is the layers. Tab. So what a layer basically is a different canvas on top of another canvas. So imagine you're painting a painting, you're done with this painting, now you want to have another layer on top of that painting without affecting the previous one. That's what layers are. But right now we don't really need to worry about it. We can just make this background invisible. We don't need to really worry about it. Click on text. I use a custom font that I use specifically for my channel and for thumbnails. You can download it from multiple different sites, but I use defont.com, and you can find fonts that really work for your channel and what type of style you're going for. So I'm using like a Call of Duty themed font right here, you guys can see. So we're just gonna say how to make. Just gonna make this, highlight that, and we're gonna make it about, we're gonna make it about 150 size. How to make. All right, so we're gonna change the colors right off the bat. So what's really important, what you need to know and understand, is you right click on any of these layers. You right click on the text layer specifically for this, and you go to Alpha 2 selection right down here, Alpha 2 selection. So what this does is it selects all the content inside of one layer. So this layer is only a text layer, so it's only selecting the text. So now what we want to do is change the color of the text. I'm going for a white look. So we're gonna go click over here, and you can change the colors if you want, but you can flip it. I want white first because that means white will be on top. So now you can change, and you can kind of like see as you drag it, it changes the shades. I want this to be a pretty white to dark shade with more white, so we're gonna go something like that. That's all right, that's not terrible. We want some texture. We want some texture in our images, so we need to click on the clone tool, which will allow you to put some texture in there. You click on pattern, and then you go and click on marble or like anything that's white for this text specifically. So you need to increase the size of it roughly, I don't know, 200 is fine, something around there. And you need to make sure that your brush is set on hardness, either 75 or hardness 50. I prefer 75. It allows you to kind of fade stuff a little bit more. So I'm just gonna kind of fade the edges of this. This adds some texture to the depth of the text. So now you click on filters and you click on light and shadow. Then you click on lighting effects. This allows us to put some lighting into our text, and it really allows you to change the glow and the feel of the text itself, and really makes it stand out. I prefer to have shiny down pretty low, around like 0.1 or so. Brightness is fine, glowing around 40. It depends how you want to make it look, but I'm gonna go for about 40 for this one. I drag the text. You see, now you can see we have mostly white with a little bit of texture in there, so you can click select, then none to deselect that. So we're done with that. So now we're gonna take the bottom side of our image here, and we're just gonna make a little text box. Click on text again, make the text box, and we're gonna type in hot thumbnails, because we gotta make them hot thumbnails. Highlight that, change the font to I'm doing Call of Duty again, and we're gonna make this 150. So once again, you just right click on the layer itself of the text, and then you go down to Alpha 2 selection, and again we're gonna use the same colors as last time, and we're just gonna find the right mix of gray and white. I'm gonna go with about right there. That looks pretty good. And then we're gonna go down to clone tool again, and we're gonna find some texture, and we're just gonna fill in this texture. Bang. It doesn't really matter. I don't think about it too much, unless it looks terrible. And then we just adjust our light again where we want the light to be focused, and it's gonna be on the same lighting as last time. And you just click OK. Bang. Wait for it. Give it a second. Bang. All right, we got a nice looking text here. So now we want to make sure that we can fit the text in the middle. So we need to put in a block here. So we need to grab the rectangular select tool and basically fill in a rectangle here. It doesn't really matter necessarily where it is. Now we have this selected. So now what we need to do is make sure we have a new layer. Make sure that this, so you create the new layer, make sure the layer is selected. Then we go to the blend tool and we go to yellow and like orange basically. So you just need to change those colors, click on them, change the colors, and then we're able to fill in. I prefer to have more yellow than orange, but you know, orange creates a lot of that contrast, so we need to have a little bit of both. That's not too bad right there. So once you get to a point you really like, you can click on the text tool, and now we can just put a text inside of this. So we're gonna say attractive. How do you make attractive hot thumbnails? All right, let's make this Call of Duty again. Blow this thing up to, oh, it's lagging. That's weird. It never usually lags. So once you have it to a size you really like, we can again change the color of the text. I just want this to be black. So I should have just done that when I made them a text, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna make it black like that. So now we got some black text. It looks nice. And it's right in the middle of the orange. It looks pretty good. But what we wanna do is use the perspective tool to let it really pop from the page. The perspective tool basically adds in a different, like, you know, sight. It gives it perspective. It gives it a way to pop off the page. So what you do is make sure that you have that layer selected, and you can make it really pop off the page. Attractive. Bang. Oh, that's a little bit too big. Boom. Attractive. Looking real nice like that. So now what we want to do is, now that we have this all connected, we want to center this first of all. So what you can do is move all of these texts by locking them using the little lock button, which means they're all connected for a little bit. So now you can move them all to the middle because we want to make sure that we have enough space. Deselect them all. So now before we merge them, we want to make sure that these texts are lined up so they'll look pretty good. So you want to put a little bit of space in between all of the texts, but not too much. About that it'll look pretty good. And now we need to merge the layers. So what we need to do is right click on the first layer and click merge down. So you guys will be able to see that merges those layers. They're now connected, and we just keep doing it. Merge down, those are connected. Merge down, now they're all connected. All right, what we're trying to do here is create an outline around the whole image. So what we're gonna do is right click on it, click on alpha to selection again, and then click select and then grow. We're gonna grow it by about 12 or so. That should look pretty good. And then now we can click on the bucket fill, because that's all we need to do. And before we fill, because if we just clicked fill right now, it would look kind of weird because there would still be holes. See how there's a hole here, there's a hole here, there's holes in between some of the letters. We don't want to do that. So we need to make a new layer. Make a new layer, right click on it, click new layer, click OK. Now we need to make sure this layer is below our other layer, so drag it beneath the current layer. And then now we can click fill. So we can click in the open space, and now you can see that the whole thing is filled. There's just a big black outline behind our image, which is real nice. So now you can see it really pops off the page. It looks pretty good, but we still have a little bit of work to do. So what we're gonna do is, to make it pop just even a little bit more, is you click select none. And again, now we create a new layer once again. We right click on the black layer and we click select grow, and we bring it to about 3 or 4. I'm gonna go 3. Just grow it just a little bit. Now we want this white image, so make sure you have white selected, and we go to our new layer, bring it underneath our current layer. So we want to make sure it's underneath our black layer, and now we click on it. Boom. So now we have a white outline around our black outline surrounding our whole image. It looks really good. I think that looks really good. One thing I want to show you guys before we get going is how you can Gaussian blur backgrounds to kind of give it like a nice little fade if you want. I usually prefer having solid backgrounds, but you can fade them. So just have this selected. No need to do anything else. Just select it. Then go to blur, Gaussian blur underneath filters, and you can Gaussian blur it. So like, say you want like a filter of Gaussian blur 15. So, oh, I'm sorry about that. So then you can see how it's blurred in the background. It looks kind of weird. It doesn't look good for this, but you can do that way. I'm just gonna undo that. Nice. So now we just need to merge down these layers, right click, merge down, right click, merge down. Now they're all merged. See that? So now what we want to do is, again, use some perspective. Make sure that that layer with all of the stuff is selected. And then you click on the perspectives tool and we can just make it pop off the screen just a little bit. Bang. How to make attractive hot thumbnails. Shapow. Look at that. Looks real good. So now all we need to do is just put in a background and we'll be done. So look up some nice, really nice background of whatever is relevant to your video. I'm just going to use some random background. We're going to use a beautiful picture of a mountain with some water because, you know, who doesn't like that? And just need to use the sizing tool, the scale tool, and you can scale it to the right size of your background. Just takes us a little bit of working with and you should be good. So you can see how it's in the front of our image right now. We want to make sure it's at the back. So we pull it to the back behind layer 1. So it looks pretty good. The thing is we want to make sure the focus is on the words, not the background. And so we want to blur the background. Again, we're using the Gaussian blur. So have the background picture selected and then go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur. And I usually use around like 5 to 15. We're going to go with like an 8 or so here. Blur it quite a bit. There you go. See, it's blurred just a little bit. The words really pop now. And the colors in the background really contrast and work well with the picture, the colors, I'm sorry, of our text. So it looks really good. I think this is a fantastic thumbnail right here. So basically, this is how to make a text thumbnail if you want to add a mix with text and imagery. So we're going to show you how to do that right now. So stick along if you want to see how to do the text and imagery. So we're going to drag Logan Paul into our picture. Okay, it ended up behind our image. We need to drag it up to the front. There you go. Logan Paul's pointing. Boom. Now just zoom in on Logan Paul a little bit. That's all we need to do. And now you need to select the scissors tool over here. Scissors, really simple. Make sure that, this is really important, make sure that your layer is selected. So we have Logan Paul selected here. And now we can outline our image with the scissors tool. So click on the edge of what you want to be selected and just make sure that it doesn't go inside of your image. So you don't want it to look like this, you know, where it's like gouging inside some of your image. You want to make sure it's on the outside of your image. And like even having it like that isn't too bad because we're going to go in and make sure it looks really good. Okay. So we're just going to go really quickly around the outside edge and we'll do that right now. At the end, you finally just click on the first circle and then you click enter. Okay. Now you can see it's selected. But what we need is this to be in its own layer. So what you need to do is copy it and then paste it. So the hotkeys are Control C to copy and then Control V to paste. Control V, paste. Then you right click on this little pasted layer, right click on it and click and send it to the new layer. Send to new layer. Now we can hide the original picture and now we just have Logan Paul. Look at that, beautiful. Who doesn't want to see Logan Paul, right? Yeah. But now what we need to do is make sure we get rid of all this extra color around the edge of Logan Paul. So we click on the eraser, we go to brush, go to pixel, and we edit the size down to like 3 or 4. I'm going to use about 4. So now we zoom in really far in on Logan Paul. You see all of his greatest features. So now all we need to do is just go along the edge of Logan Paul and get rid of all of the extra color that we don't need. And this makes the picture look really nice. And this is something that I didn't do for a long time. And I wish I would have because it makes images look so much better. All right, so now just go along the edge, get rid of all this extra color here. And we're going to do this for the whole picture. And again, watch out for the fingers and watch out for the hair because the hair can be a little bit tricky. But just do this around the whole image. All right, now that we got Logan Paul looking real fresh, he's pointing the wrong way still. So what we need to do is move him down here a little bit, and we need Logan Paul to be pointing to the left side. So what we need to do is make sure you have Logan Paul selected still. Click on layer and then transform. We want him to point to the left or his right, so we need to flip him horizontally. Bang. Oh yeah, now he's pointing the right way. So our issue is that now our text is a little bit too big. and it's getting covered up by Logan Paul. So what we need to do is shrink this text a little bit. So what we're going to do is just go to the text, make sure you have the text selected, and then click on the scale tool. And we're just going to bring this down a little bit. I don't know if that'll be about right. Maybe right there. Oh, a little bit too big still. About that. That should work right there. Bang. How to make attractive hot thumbnails. We got Logan Paul pointing off right underneath it. It looks real nice. We're going to turn it just a little bit. So we're going to scale it like that. Not scale it. I'm sorry. We're going to rotate it. Rotate just a little bit. Bang. We need to give Logan Paul a little bit more space over there. There we go. Oh, yeah. So now the only thing we need to do still is make sure that Logan Paul is outlined. So what we need to do is click on Logan Paul, right click. Again, alpha to selection. That'll select all of that information inside of Logan Paul. And then we'll click select, grow. And actually, we're going to grow them by 5. So again, now you need to go to bucket fill. Make sure you have white selected. And right click underneath Logan Paul and add a new layer. Now we can put in this white layer behind Logan Paul, which will make it outlined. So just click on that. Boom. And we got an outlined Logan Paul looking real nice. Select none, and bang. We got the thumbnail of the ages right there. The beautiful. We got the sun even behind Logan Paul looking so nice. And that's a fire thumbnail. You could add in some arrows pointing at Logan Paul. You could add in some arrows pointing at the text. You could put in a red circle because it's all clickbait. You could add in some cleavage because, you know, everyone loves that. And just wah-bang, beautiful, attractive, hot thumbnails that everyone will love, everyone will click on. Makes your channel a lot better. It makes your channel look official, real nice, and makes something that people want to be a part of. So there's the thumbnails. I hope you guys learned how to do that. If you guys have any questions, just drop them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Share the video with all of your YouTube friends if you really enjoyed it. But as always, guys, I am your boy, SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. You don't know of any content creators for those type of organizations because they really just don't have them. And the issue is that those organizations aren't doing a good job of building their brand, not only in the competitive Call of Duty community, but in the Call of Duty community as a whole when that comes to